Southwest France as huge wildfires continue to burn, the worst in 80 years.
Spain, which is experiencing its worst wildfire season since records began.
Wildfires have left a trail of scorched earth across the Mediterranean.
Australia is on fire, and it's bigger than you think. 12.35 million acres of land.
The wildfires have destroyed about a third of Namibia's Etosha National Park.
Fires ripping across 3 different continents south of the equator.
Fire. It is 2026. Wildfires are getting worse with no sign of slowing down. Extreme wildfire activity has more than doubled worldwide since the early 2000s, in frequency, size, and intensity. Pollution from savanna fires are being picked up as far as Australia and into the Antarctic. This global problem is feeding on itself, stuck in a consistent cycle that, if not broken, will feed itself into catastrophe. The world's forests are filling up with dry tinder, ready to ignite. Same with our grasslands, where a buildup of oxidizing grasses and shrubs are also ready to combust. In Africa, nearly 90% of the 750 million hectares that burn each year do so during the dry season. That old, dead, and dormant vegetation is the fuel to the fire. While to deal with all that dry, oxidative vegetation, fighting fire with fire has been and still is the main way we try to deal with this problem. But there must be a better way. Fires ravage vegetation like trees and grass, pumping the atmosphere full of dangerous pollutants and aerosols like black carbon, NO2, PM2.5, and even methyl bromide. Back in the 90s, the Max Planck Institute revealed that we'd been seriously underestimating how much methyl bromide fires pump out, which has significant potential to destroy upper ozone. Yet with all the negative impacts of fire, we are seeing it being frequently prescribed as a vital ecological management tool to maintain healthy ecosystems. Fire is also majorly used in agriculture to maintain grasslands, dealing with crop residues, invasive species, or slash and burn practices, which has terrible ecological impact. While so commonly used and even promoted, it may seem at first glance to be working. Plants come back vigorously, invasive species temporarily disappear, and we manage to solve our problem. But if one looks a little deeper, between the plants in the landscapes that consistently receive fire, we see increased bare ground between plants. This bare ground leads to the downfall of all 4 ecosystem processes, especially the water cycle. In short, the rain that falls on the land now isn't absorbed. It mostly runs off the land, and any water that did seep in evaporates quickly back out. This creates a dangerous feedback loop, where the use of fire leads to an increased bare ground between plants, leading to a more non-effective water cycle, which creates more drought, creating more dry, flammable vegetation, again leading to the use of more fire. So why do we keep using fire? This cycle has not only been going on since the dawn of the Industrial Revolution, but already beginning tens of thousands of years ago, where our past ancestors were using fire as a tool to control and manage our environment. Still, according to the FAO, fire is a necessary tool. In quote, "For thousands of years, indigenous people have used fire to sustainably manage their lands, territories, and natural resources, protecting biodiversity, cultural diversity, enhancing food security, and reducing wildfire risks. There are many ecosystems around the world which are adapted to fire and fire dependent." End quote. Does fire really do all these things the FAO describes? For the majority of human history, we have relied on 3 primary tools to deal and manage nature: technology, rest, and fire. Fire attempts to do what technology and rest cannot do, which is deal with the accumulation of dry, oxidative vegetation across hundreds of millions of hectares. Yet fire's quick breakdown of vegetation is something nature already does through rapid biological decay. Instead of fire, microorganisms do the work on the soil surface or in the gut of animals. Might be confusing at first, but let me keep going. So has fire always worked this way? Let me give some historical context. Historically, before the frequent use of fire, the excess buildup of dead/dry plant material has in most cases been broken down through rapid biological decay from the impact of large herds of grazing animals. This animal impact of grazing, trampling, and behaviors such as herd effect was the key in maintaining healthy landscapes without the fire risk. For example, when large herds of grazing animals bunch over land to protect themselves from predators, they trample grasses and brush, bringing them in closer contact with the soil surface, allowing microorganisms to additionally help in the biological decay. But looking at what the FAO said, aren't there ecosystems around the world that are adapted to fire and are fire dependent? To answer this question, let's look at an example. Australia. 65,000 years ago, humans arrived on the continent with pollen records showing a mostly fire-phobic continent. Shortly after human arrival, it is estimated around 85% of megafauna species collapsed, mainly due to overhunting. This collapse had major ecological impacts, where the vital role of biological decay that the megafauna provided was gone, leading to the increased usage of fire, eventually creating more fire-adapted and dependent vegetation that we see today. Conclusion. So did natural fires still occur through lightning strikes? Yes, but in far, far less frequency and intensity. We need to begin to ask ourselves, what is fire or rapid oxidation replacing? And when we use fire in fire management, are we addressing the cause or merely just a symptom of something greater? Animal impact is and has been the missing tool in our fight against fire. Instead of fighting fire with fire, the power of animals and their hooves, in great numbers with the right behavior, has the power to restore landscapes through rapid biological decay. Keep an eye out for part 2, where we go in further detail about this topic.